Welcome to our retrospective on 2025, the year AI truly got to work. What we witnessed wasn't just incremental improvement in language models, it was a fundamental transformation in how AI systems operate, compete, and integrate into professional workflows. Drawing from Simon Willison's comprehensive annual review, we'll explore the pivotal shifts that defined this transformative year. Let's begin. 2025 can be understood through three fundamental movements. First, the dawn of agency. A new training paradigm unlocked reasoning capabilities, enabling models to execute complex, multi-step tasks autonomously. Second, the great rebalancing. The competitive landscape was completely redrawn as the incumbent's lead vanished. A sleeping giant awoke at Google, and Chinese labs emerged as a dominant force in open-weight models. And third, the new human interface. Powerful agentic AI reshaped professional workflows, creating new development cultures, new economic models with $200 per month subscriptions, and critically, new high-stakes security risks that remain unsolved. The reasoning revolution traces back to OpenAI's o1 release in September 2024, but 2025 is when it became universal. Every major AI lab released at least one reasoning model this year. As Andrei Karpathy explained it, by training LLMs against automatically verifiable rewards, think math and code puzzles, the models spontaneously develop strategies that look like reasoning to humans. They learn to break down problem solving into intermediate calculations. What's particularly significant is that this approach offered such high capability per dollar that labs shifted compute away from pre-training to these longer reinforcement learning runs. The result? Similar-sized models, but dramatically more capable through extended RL training. This defined the capability progress of 2025. Simon Willison started 2025 predicting that agents wouldn't happen. By September, he'd changed his mind entirely. The science fiction version, a magic computer assistant that does anything you ask, didn't materialize. But if you define agents as LLM systems that perform useful work via tool calls over multiple steps, then agents are here and proving extraordinarily useful. The key insight? Reasoning models with access to tools can plan out multi-step tasks, execute them, and then reason about the results to update their plans. This closed loop is what makes them effective. The two breakout categories were deep research, where models churn away for 15+ minutes building detailed reports, and more significantly, coding agents. AI-assisted search actually works now. Complex research questions that would have produced questionable results before can now be answered reliably. The most impactful event of 2025 was the quiet release of Claude Code in February. Anthropic didn't even give it its own blog post. They bundled it as the second item in their Claude 3.7 Sonnet announcement. Yet it represents the most prominent example of what we now call coding agents, systems that can write code, execute it, inspect results, and iterate. Every major lab followed suit. OpenAI launched Codex CLI. Google released Gemini CLI. Alibaba put out Qwen Code, and Mistral shipped Mistral Vibe. Then came the asynchronous coding agents, Claude Code for Web, OpenAI's Codex Web, and Google's Jules. These systems you can prompt and forget. They work away on problems and file pull requests when done. This category is particularly exciting because it solves the security challenges of running arbitrary code on personal laptops. You can fire off multiple tasks from your phone and get decent results minutes later. One of the most striking charts of 2025 came from METR, showing the time horizon of software engineering tasks that different LLMs can complete 50% of the time. In 2024, the best models tapped out at tasks taking humans under 30 minutes. But look at 2025. GPT-5, Claude Opus 4.5, and GPT-5.1 Codex Max can now perform tasks that take humans multiple hours. METR's conclusion, the length of tasks AI can do is doubling every 7 months. Whether that pattern continues is uncertain, but it illustrates a genuine step change in agent capabilities. We've moved from AI that assists with quick tasks to AI that can tackle substantial, hours-long engineering work independently. In 2024, OpenAI held an undisputed lead. That changed dramatically this year. The race for state-of-the-art is no longer a one-horse race. 4 stories define this rebalancing. The incumbent falters. OpenAI lost their undisputed lead across several key domains. The challenger ascends. Google's Gemini division had a victorious year, shipping a torrent of competitive products. A new power rises. Chinese labs took a commanding lead in the open-weight model space. And a favorite stumbles. Meta's Llama series, the dominant force of 2024, lost its way. The industry map was redrawn in ways nobody predicted 12 months ago. Look at the artificial analysis ranking for open-weight models as of December 30th, 2025. The top 5 positions, GLM 4.7, Kimi K2 Thinking, Mimo V2 Flash, DeepSeek V3.2, and Minimax M2.1 are all Chinese models. The highest non-Chinese model is OpenAI's GPT-OSS 120B, sitting in 6th place. The revolution kicked off on Christmas Day 2024 with DeepSeek 3, reportedly trained for around $5.5 million. Then on January 20th came DeepSeek R1, which triggered a major sell-off. NVIDIA lost approximately $593 billion in market cap as investors panicked that AI wasn't an American monopoly after all. The panic didn't last, but the message was clear. Crucially, most of these models are fully open source under OSI-approved licenses. QWN uses Apache 2.0, DeepSeek and Zipper.ai use MIT. They've been publishing detailed research papers pushing forward the state-of-the-art, especially for efficient training and inference. Google Gemini had a really good year. They shipped Gemini 2.0, 2.5, and 3.0, each supporting audio, video, image, and text input with million-plus token context windows, priced competitively and more capable than the last. The product portfolio expanded dramatically. Gemini CLI for command-line coding, Jules for asynchronous agents, constant AI studio improvements, the Nano Banana image models culminating in the professional-grade Nano Banana Pro, Veo 3 for video generation, and the promising Gemma 3 open-weight family. But Google's biggest advantage is hidden under the hood. While almost every other AI lab trains with NVIDIA GPUs, sold at margins propping up NVIDIA's multi-trillion-dollar valuation, Google uses their own in-house TPU hardware. When your primary expense is GPU time, a competitor with their own optimized and presumably much cheaper hardware stack is a daunting prospect. OpenAI still has top-tier models, but they're being challenged across the board. In image models, they're beaten by Google's Nano Banana Pro. For code, many developers rate Anthropic's Opus 4.5 slightly ahead of GPT 5.2 Codex. In open-weight, their GPT-OSS models fall behind Chinese labs. Their audio lead is threatened by the Gemini Live API. OpenAI's strength is consumer mindshare. Nobody knows what an LLM is, but everyone's heard of ChatGPT. In December, they declared a code red in response to Gemini 3, delaying new initiatives to focus on the competition. Meanwhile, Meta's Llama 4 arrived in April and was, in Simon's words, kinda disappointing. The models were simply too big at 109B and 400B parameters. Previous Llama releases included sizes you could run on a laptop. Even quantization won't get these running on a 64GB Mac. Today, none of the most popular models on LM Studio or Llama are from Meta. The Llama era appears to be over. The command line became the new UI. Coding agents like Claude Code proved that developers will embrace LLMs on the terminal given powerful enough models. The barrier to entry for obscure commands, sed, ffmpeg, bash, is gone when an LLM can generate them for you. Remarkably, Anthropic credits Claude Code with $1 billion in run rate revenue. A CLI tool reaching those numbers was unexpected, and with this new professional toolkit came a new price point. ChatGPT Plus set the original $20 per month standard. This year established a new precedent, Claude Pro Max 20x at $200 per month, ChatGPT Pro at $200, Google AI Ultra at $249. For heavy users of coding agents, which can burn through enormous numbers of tokens on challenging tasks, these flat fees offer substantial discounts over pay-per-token API usage. The economics have fundamentally shifted.
Here's the uncomfortable truth about 2025's agent revolution. Default settings for coding agents require confirmation for almost every action. For good reason, when a mistake could wipe your home folder, or a malicious prompt injection could steal credentials. But running with automatic confirmation, so-called YOLO mode, feels like a completely different product. Security researcher Johan Reiberger wrote about the normalization of deviance, a phenomenon where repeated exposure to risky behavior without negative consequences leads people to accept that risk as normal. This was identified as a cause of the 1986 Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. Johan argues we're approaching a Challenger disaster of our own with AI security. Simon coined the term lethal trifecta for the specific subset of prompt injection where malicious instructions trick an agent into stealing private data. The three ingredients: access to private data, ability to communicate externally, and exposure to untrusted content. When all three combine, you have a genuine security crisis, and we haven't solved it. Two cultural phenomena defined how people actually used these tools in 2025. First, prompt-driven image editing went mainstream. The most successful consumer product launch of all time happened in March. 100 million ChatGPT signups in a week, 1 million account creations in a single hour, when OpenAI enabled image uploads and prompt-based editing. Viral trends like giblification dominated social media. Google's Nano Banana Pro elevated this to professional grade, capable of generating useful text and detailed infographics. Second, vibe coding emerged. Andrei Karpathy coined the term in February for a new way of prototyping, where you fully give in to the vibes and forget that the code even exists. It's about building things that mostly work through prompting alone, without reading diffs. Critically, this is distinct from general AI-assisted programming. It represents a more exploratory, less rigorous style suited for throwaway projects and rapid prototyping.
So, where does this leave us? 2025 can be summarized in 3 movements. The dawn of agency. Foundational models learn to reason, unlocking agents that could execute complex, multi-hour tasks and get real work done. The great rebalancing. The market became a multipolar competition as Gemini and Chinese labs challenged OpenAI's dominance and redrew the map of the industry. And the new human interface. Work itself changed with the rise of CLI agents, pro-tier subscriptions, and a YOLO culture balanced against unsolved security risks. 2025 was the year AI stopped being a curiosity and started being a colleague. Based on the annual review by Simon Willison. Thank you.